Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Long Island Legends podcast, the only podcast dedicated to showcasing our most legendary talent right here on our Long Island community. And in the short period of time that we've had this podcast, I've been fortunate to have conversations with local legends. But the gentleman here to my left, he's not simply a local legend, he's an industry one of the greatest ever to pick up a lacrosse stick. We could probably have a full episode just talking in bullet points about his accomplishments alone. He's a Long Island native, undoubtedly a Cornell legend, winner of the 2013 Tewaaraton Award. At one point, the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, the first-time three-time Ivy League Player of the Year, four-time All-American. As a pro, he's been an MVP, a champion, and now the all-time assist leader in the Premier Lacrosse League. With Team USA, he's brought home world championships and has become their all-time leading scorer. Welcome to the show, future Hall of Famer, Rob Pannell.
Thanks, Jeremiah. I was if we knew each other a little better, I would have cut you off like 30 seconds ago. But thanks for that introduction. It's all great. But I'm happy to be here. This is great.
Thank you. So, when you hear of all this, these accomplishments, right, and you go back to how it all started, do you remember the first time you picked up a lacrosse stick?
I do. I don't remember it that vividly. I know where it was, and one of my friend's house at the time had played, and it was actually lacrosse was the last sport that I started to play.
Okay.
I love sports since I was born. My dad is an athlete.
What did he play?
And he played football and baseball at Brown.
Okay.
But he plays everything. He's a golfer. He's played hockey. He loves sports. So there's a picture of me when I was born, and I'm like 15 days old, and I have every possible sports equipment around me. So lacrosse was the last sport I picked up, and I just remember picking it up and going in my friend's backyard and being able to catch and throw, but more importantly, going to a practice and just loving the constant action of the game. And baseball was my spring sport at the time.
How old were you when you picked up your lacrosse?
I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Which is a little late now.
Yeah. No, it is. It's crazy. Obviously, Long Island is known as one of the premier places to produce, talent for the sport. What do you think? It's obviously a hotbed for D1 programs. What sets apart Long Island players from maybe other hotbeds, Maryland, upstate New York, Buffalo? What makes this area just so unique for the talent that it develops?
Yeah, I think it starts with the skill level. Kids love the sport. They have a stick in their hand at a very early age. And part of that is a lot of the dads on Long Island played lacrosse.
Okay.
And I think having that coach at an early age or having someone pushing you to it is extremely important. Whereas in other areas, a lot of parents maybe haven't played lacrosse.
Yes.
They don't know about it.
Yes.
Long Island tends to be, and it has been, so even more so than ever, dads that are living here played and they want their kids to play.
Okay.
Also, I think just Long Island's got a lot of pride and a tough culture, and
yes,
kids are hardworking, and they're out there in the backyard, they're playing with their friends. So, when you have good coaches and coaches that have played, and you have that work ethic, the two tend to come together. And Long Island has just always been that hotbed for lacrosse, and kids have just always excelled at every level.
So you played at Smithtown, right? As you went up and you moved through the ranks, were there any rivalries that you developed with other schools that even to this day you're still like, you can't wait to just see them get crushed?
Yeah, I think Ward Melville and West Islip were the two teams that we beat. We never beat West Islip.
Okay.
And it's funny because they're actually not that good now, and they're getting beat like badly. But when we were there, we never.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. But we split my sophomore year. We were Smithtown.
Yes.
And 6 of my best friends, we were starting on varsity as sophomores, and then the next year they split us into East and West. So it really kind of took some talent here, some talent there. And we just never had the full, complete team at either place, either school, to beat West Islip or to beat Ward Melville. We beat Ward Melville during the regular season, but they actually ended my career. It's my high school career and West Islip. But those are definitely the two schools I think about.
When the schools split into two, what was the reaction amongst your teammates? Like, I mean, that's got to be like you're breaking up a band of brothers here, and you don't hear about that very often, right? Schools just splitting into two like that. How did you guys handle that? I mean, what was the reaction?
It was tough. I mean, my my friends were looking at trying to buy apartments in, or just renting apartments in
Sure.
one side, right? So we could have the pieces to the puzzle that we needed. But listen, it was what it was. We talk about it till this day, and it's really unfortunate because I really have a special group of friends. They all just came to my wedding in Italy, and our parents are best friends. They go on vacations together. We were just all together this past Saturday, for Cow Harbor. We run together. It's an amazing group, and I really think we probably would have one, if not two, state championships if we didn't split schools.
Now, as you look back, I mean, what were the local coaches, the mentors, the programs that you would say, outside of obviously being a part of Smithtown, that can look back and say this had the greatest impact on my
Yeah.
development?
I'd say there's probably a couple moments that I remember. When I first started playing, I was living in Comac, and one of the directors of Comac Youth Lacrosse, his name was Mike Gongas, who recently passed away, and he's kind of one of the OGs of lacrosse on Long Island and club lacrosse, kind of getting started. And he kind of gave a speech. I might have only been in like the fourth or fifth grade, and he gave a speech like I got like an MVP award or like an award at the end of the season, and just like watch this kid, he's gonna do great things in this sport. And I was smaller, I wasn't the biggest, fastest, but I had skill and had IQ, and he saw it from that age. And confidence is a big thing for me. It's a big theme in my career, and because that gave me confidence. I just remember that. But then, in the years after, I didn't make some club teams because I was smaller, so my confidence got shut down, and my recruiting story was all crazy.
Hmm.
Fast forward to my senior year of high school, a new coach comes in. His name's Sean Keenan. And I remember like walking into his office. He's like, "What are some goals for the season?" And I'm like, I'd love to have like 100 points on the year. I had 70 as a junior." And he goes, "I had 126 my senior year of high school." He goes, "I think you could have more than that." And I was like, "Whoa."
Sure.
I was like, no coach has ever like had that confidence in me. Sure enough, I had 130, and it was cool. But so I think he was really a really big part of my confidence and development.
As you progressed in the sport, you picked up the lacrosse stick. Was this a sport that came natural to you? What helped accelerate your development? Because, for some kids, you hear this in sports a lot. They start off and then all of a sudden it just clicks. Some people, the moment they pick up that sport, they just right away it clicks. It happens at different stages for people. Where did it happen for you?
I say I definitely had like a good understanding and skill of the game when I started playing. Like catching and throwing always came easy to me.
Okay.
Like hand-eye coordination was never a problem.
Did other sports, do you think baseball helped with that?
100%. So I think playing other sports first actually helped, like baseball and basketball. Like I play lacrosse a lot, like how I played point guard in basketball, and I played that all up and through high school. And probably a not a very popular answer to your question would be the fact that I played other sports
Sure.
while playing lacrosse
Yeah.
allowed me to continue to develop as an athlete and use things from some sports, for
Absolutely.
lacrosse.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of was a big part of it. And I always just loved the game and just loved working at it in the backyard.
Yeah. So the story, for those who aren't familiar, you weren't the most hyped recruit out of high school.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, things changed dramatically.
Yeah, of course.
How did that being overlooked fuel your drive, and does it still fuel you to this day?
It does. Earning the respect of your peers. At that time it was college coaches, and now it's my peers as I finish my professional career, right? Earning the respect of the guys around you, and it's always been important for me. But I don't know if not being recruited and that still fuels me today. It's obviously other things, championships or
Hmm.
just winning games at this point. But it was such a fuel, back then. I just remember, some days you'd be crying like, why isn't this working
Sure.
out? And it's amazing what if you can stay moving forward to a certain extent and just continue to double down on yourself and work hard, what you can accomplish.
What do you think the reason was for being overlooked? I mean, if you look back on it,
Yeah.
was there something that, maybe you're like, Can you understand maybe why you were overlooked, or it was just people just didn't have the eye? What do you think it was?
Yeah. Well, I was born in December,
Okay.
and my parents pushed me ahead instead
Okay.
of holding me back. So I was definitely on the smaller side in my grade, and not really the most physically imposing. And I definitely matured late. So my friends were all, 6 foot and bigger and stronger and faster. And when you're playing on a field with them in the summer, coaches
Yeah.
are going to look at them.
Yes.
But I did not understand to a certain extent, because a lot of tryouts, I would have a really good tryout. And,
Yeah.
my coach would be like, you were the best attackman out there. And, for example, the Empire team used to be a big deal on Long Island. And, there's a top 50 game, Nassau, Suffolk, 25 and 25, before they make the actual 25-man roster for the best players on Long Island. I didn't even make the top 50 game. And I had one of the best tryouts of my life. And I was like, what's going on here? Because I always had the skill. Right? I had the left hand, I had the right hand, I had the dodging. I knew how to, I was a great feeder. I could kind of see the play develop. And, but so I'm guessing it was my size, and coaches kind of overlooking that and wanting big, strong athletes, which is funny, because lacrosse is a sport kind of like hockey. I mean, you could be great and be any size.
Yes. Yes, you can. And you see that. I mean, even in hockey, there's now more of a movement, right, towards quick and
Yeah.
fast. Like it used to be just size,
Yeah.
size. That changed, and you see it in lacrosse and hockey as well. Your brother also, very highly decorated lacrosse player. What was it like, the two of you growing up?
It was the best. I mean, we had a practice partner every day, and James loved being in the backyard. He loved being out there, and it's funny because we had two different paths. James was the most recruited player.
Sure.
Like, there was I think he was number 5 recruit in the country
Yeah.
in his class, and he, the mailbox on July 1st, I think it was
Yeah.
filled
Sure.
with envelopes. His phone was ringing off the hook. Could have went wherever he wanted. And the game came very naturally to him. He wasn't as dedicated in the weight room, because he just had natural speed, natural size, natural strength. He could shoot the ball fast. But when we were younger, I mean, when we were out there in the backyard, he was out there with me and my friends, and he's 4.5 years younger, but he was getting there. He's getting physical. He was taking hits.
Yeah.
His skill right off the bat. I mean, he was amazing. So each other's development was, a big part of it was because of each other. But he also was a motivating factor for me, because he he started on varsity in 8th grade, and I was at Deerfield Academy, still kind of hadn't really made a name for myself yet. And he was James Pannell.
Yeah.
And I'm, I committed to Cornell, and I was going there, but everybody knew who James was.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, it was kind of not a motivating factor, but I was just like, all right, I want to make a name for myself too.
Yeah.
But he's the best. I mean, we was saying in our family, everybody loves James. So he had a couple injuries and stuff, but he had a great career as well.
When you finally had the chance to suit up alongside him, what was that like? Do your skills complement each other, or I mean, how are you as players?
Yeah.
Describe that experience.
Yeah, they do. That was probably one of the favorite experiences in lacrosse, to be on the field for when he scored his first goal. And he literally scored it on his first dodge. He caught the ball out of the box. He's playing mid, he ran down, he shot it and scored. And I think I had 8 goals that game. And so it was like, together we had 9. But it was just so cool to be on the field with him, and to be there for that. Just going back to the backyard, how many years we played together. Our skills do complement each other. He's a shooter, shoots the ball really well, moves off ball. I mean, he can dodge, but he's definitely, he's a bigger, stronger dodger. But he can shoot the ball. So I wish we had more of an opportunity to play together in our career. A couple of things didn't go either of our way. But he, on his teams, he was an all-star and had a good career, and I'm still going.
So you commit to Cornell. You don't just go there. You dominate, right? Okay. And after that, you have all these accomplishments. When it was finally time to leave Cornell, did you feel like you still had something to prove at the pro level?
Yeah, I always feel like I have something to prove. I think it's just my mindset. Like, it's not about what I achieved, like, winning, championships or, awards is more like a relief than it is an excitement. It's like, my favorite.
You kind of expect yourself to do.
Yeah, you set the bar high.
Yeah.
That's what I work towards.
Sure.
Exactly. It's greatly put. And it's like, all right, my favorite one is the next one because that's the one I want to work towards.
Yes.
But Cornell, we lost the national championship my freshman year in overtime. We were up by 3 with a couple minutes to go, and we lost. And that is probably one of the most motivating factors in my career, just because I wanted to get back there while I was at Cornell, and I wanted to win the championship. When I graduated, I still had won that championship. We lost in Final Four again. So I wanted a championship at the pro level or the national team level. So I definitely feel like I still had, to prove myself.
Obviously, there's a story about in 2012 you broke your foot, right? But you come back for the 5th season. What was that like handling that from a mental standpoint? Was there a part of you that said, like, this could be it?
Yeah.
Was that thought ever cross your mind?
I don't know if it was it. I thought of it could be it for college.
Okay.
For sure. I think I had already been drafted as a pro, and it was difficult. Listen, difficult in everything's relative, right? There's plenty of bigger, more real problems in the world. But at that time, I had a great start to the season. I'm a senior. You got your senior classmates you spent 4 years with. You're looking really good. You win a championship. And then I go down, and it just was like, all right, why is this happening? So it was a mental struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful it happened because it made me appreciate lacrosse more, where I was, and it also made me appreciate my teammates more.
Yeah. When you finally transitioned from college to the pros, what do you feel was the biggest adjustment? Was there anything that now looking back you might have said, hey, I might have done this a little differently?
The biggest adjustment was the physicality of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I just remember waking up after my first pro game, and I felt like I got hit by a truck. Like my body just hurt different than it was a different soreness than a college game. And I'm not sure. I love the weight room, so I'm not sure what I could have done differently.
Yeah.
I think it was just getting used to that. And I have put on weight since that time to handle that better.
Now, obviously, you go on to the pro level, and you dominate, right? Again, you dominated the college level, you dominated the pro level. Was there a point where no matter how good you are, there's a transition, there's an adjustment period from one level to the other, and some people, as you know, they could be the most high player out of college, they go into the pros, and they just don't make it, right? What point did you realize after you finally adjusted, that you said, not only can I play with these guys, but I can be actually one of the best? Was there a moment that pops out in your mind?
Maybe my first game.
Really? So right away.
Yeah, I came up from the Tewaaraton ceremony, and I had a hat trick in my first game, and I didn't know what to expect, and I kind of just went out there and did my thing, and it's a funnier story behind it, but I just strung my stick on the car there. It was like I was kind of scrambling, and I drove because I was at the ceremony the night before, and I drive up and I play, and then I think having a good rookie season is one thing, but then the next year everyone talks about the sophomore slump, and I didn't have that, and I was able to just kind of continue right where I left off.
Do you feel like at that point, after you didn't have that sophomore slump, that people were finally starting to give you the respect that you deserved? Was that the moment that you think that people came together and realized all right, this guy's leaving his mark on the sport?
Yeah, I think so. That second year, the World Games were that summer too, and I played for Team USA, made the team there, had a good World Games. We lost, which was unfortunate, and a motivating factor for the next few years. But definitely, I think each and every step you kind of start to earn the respect more and more. But I don't know. I try to just keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
You're famous for your stick skills. Any specific drills that really helped you as you were growing up? Because people were watching this, right? Young kids in lacrosse on Long Island. Was there anything that you think you did specifically that helped develop these famous skills now?
I committed to making my left hand as good as my right hand at a young age.
Okay.
It sounds so simple, but I literally had an old school pitch back in my backyard, and I would just go out there and just kind of try and mirror my right hand, my left hand, and do the same thing, just shooting it into the middle of the net. So it's really nothing crazy. But then, there's a lot of dodges. My question mark dodge is one that I'm famous for and or known for, and in lacrosse. And I would just go out there and I'd walk through it and just kind of, walk. You got to crawl before you can walk before you can jog before you can run type of mentality. And just really was so detail oriented in my preparation and my practice that I think that was really important, not to just kind of just go out there and practice, but have a plan.
Have a plan. So you were very intentional, even at a young age, about your practices, and you understood so if I'm hearing this correctly, you appreciated the detail in the training.
Yes.
Which you don't see in a lot of kids.
Yeah, no, you have to. I mean, listen, my uncle played lacrosse, and he's like, your left hand needs to be as good as your right. He looked at my size. He's like, you need both hands. My dad was an athlete, and he's, the most competitive, one of the most intense people I know. And he was very much, listen, you got to be working on the right things here. So I was, and I loved it. I wasn't like turned off by it. I was, listen, as a parent, your kid and what's going to motivate them. So my dad knew me, and at times while we didn't agree, he knew that I was going to keep working. So
as a dad of a son who has professional aspirations, what did he do specifically that motivated you? Like, I know there's certain things I do with my son because I know it'll help him, but was there anything that stood out that kind of helped you progress?
I'm not sure I ever had a good game for my dad. He was like, never, you scored 5 goals, amazing. It was like, oh, you missed those 2.
Yeah.
So I was always seeking his approval as a young athlete. And it was, it was horrible at times. But I look back now, and he knew me.
Yeah.
He knew what I could handle. And it's why I'm, sitting here talking to you, because he was that way. Yeah. And it's just tough. It has to be like my brother, I don't think that worked with.
Okay.
But
what did he need? He needed more compliments, or?
I don't think so. I mean, James was just like, he was so good. It's like, you couldn't he would like bark back at my dad a little bit, where I was like a little more quieter.
Yeah,
but no, he could get on James too.
Yeah.
But I think he changed a little bit. I think it was a little different.
Yeah.
And James didn't respond to it sometimes. Like if he told my brother, like, you got to work on your left hand, I don't, James, I think he could have, he should have a better left hand, and he didn't. So I think when they stop responding, you probably, as a parent, if they're not responding, you got to try something different.
You do. Is there a specific game, whether it be at Cornell or in the pros, that like sticks out to you today that's like the game?
I think Cornell, one that I always go back to is we beat Virginia my freshman year in the Final Four, and Virginia was my dream school, and I had 3 goals and 3 assists in the game, and it was like kind of, maybe that was like kind of a little bit of a coming out party too. Like,
Sure.
I had a good year, but then Final Four, Virginia, freshman, 3 goals, 3 assists. It was, they were the number 1 seed. We crushed them. It was just like, everything that I worked for in the backyard growing up.
Yeah. You've set records in the MLL, PLL with Team USA. Is there a milestone or record that means the most to you?
The next one.
Yeah.
It's the PLL specifically, they do such a good job of highlighting it that it's just like, I can't wait till it's over, so they stop talking about it. Like this coming year, I'll be, if granted I play, we'll see what happens, but I'll be going for all-time leader in career points.
Yeah.
And like, it's just going to be like talking about it, and I'm be like before the season even starts, they're going to be talking about it, and I just can't wait till it's over at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm very proud of my Cornell too, like all-time points at Cornell. I'm so proud to have played for Cornell in the program. That one means a lot to me too.
Any records that when you broke, you were actually surprised, or as we talked about earlier, there was just an expectation of like, this is the standard, and it didn't come as a surprise?
Yeah, it's funny because you're kind of just working towards being your best, and that's all I focus on is being my best. Not so much better than somebody else, but year after year, how can I get to that next level? What do I need to change? Some records are coming, and some you forget. My last game, I broke the all-time NCAA points record. I graduated the all-time leading scorer of college lacrosse,
Hmm.
goals and assists, and I broke it my last game that we lost. But I remember, like, I never thought about it. Like, I didn't even, almost like you forgot it's happening. And even like the week or I had such a good 3 games in the playoffs. I guess people didn't even think it would maybe even was going to happen. I think I had like 7 points, 8 points, and 7 points in 3 games, and broke it by a point. Um, and I just remember, like, after the game, someone said it, and I was like, oh, I forgot it. I kind of forgot it happened. The pro tends to, like, let you know it's coming.
Sure.
College just wasn't a big deal.
Long Island residents, do you have a house that you want to potentially sell off market, your terms, your timeline, your way, or do you know of somebody that could benefit from that? Then definitely give us a call. You can reach out to us at 631-333-SELL. The number is below, or visit our website at SuffolkCountyHouseBuyers.com. And for any deal that you refer over to us where you are not the seller, the first deal you refer to us, we pay a $5,000 referral fee. The second deal, we pay a $10,000 referral fee. And get this, the third deal that you refer to us, we will split the profits with you 50-50. And some of our deals are multiple 6 figures, so this can be a life-changing amount of money. It could pay for weddings. It could pay for college, anything that you choose from. So please take advantage of this great opportunity. Once again, we're looking for off-market opportunities where a seller wants to sell on their terms, their timeline, their way. Do any records at this point motivate you, or is it more really about championships? Like, what's motivating you?
It's
Yeah.
championships. I mean, the MLL was the first league I played in for 7 years, and then the PLL started and absorbed the MLL. So I have an MLL championship, but the PLL is kind of looked at,
Sure.
as right now and what you want. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I would love a PLL championship. It would be awesome. It'd be a great way to end my career, and so I'd say that's definitely the motivating factor. And really, kind of just being young earlier in your career, you're so focused on your, yourself a lot of the time, and what do you need to be doing to be a pro. And right now, I just want to focus on others on the team, my teammates, and be more of a leader, and help these younger guys prepare for hopefully a long career as
Yeah.
well.
That brings me to my next question, which, obviously as a veteran of the sport, um, do you, and obviously the impact, future Hall of Famer, do you feel compelled to step into a leadership role, or is it just kind of a byproduct of what you're doing on a daily basis?
I think it happens for me. I've always enjoyed being a leader. Um, being a captain is obviously a great honor, but I'm almost a better leader when I'm not a captain. Like, I was on a new team this year, and obviously I was coming in as a captain, and we had 2 great leaders. So when someone like me comes in, you're almost expected to, like, it was a really, really good, tough conversation with my coach as the season went on. But you're expected to, like, all right, is Rob going to come in? Is he going to be a leader? Is he going to be this presence? And it's like, no, no. It's like, I read a book once, and there's a great quote. It's like, when you go into a new organization, right? Ease your way into the pool, don't cannonball. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then when you do start to become a leader and you pick and choose your spots, it's more impactful.
Well said. As you're in the later years of your career, how do you decide what to maybe reinvent or tweak in your game? And is there any of that, or you're still sticking to what made you great in
Yeah.
the first place?
Well, it depends on my body feels, right? So a lot of my reinventing is, this hurts or that hurts. I always say go back to basics, right? What got me there in the first place. But right now I'm 35 years old. My body definitely hurts a little more than it does, so I have to spend more time on that side of it. Okay, what now? If I'm looking at next season, and if I am going to play, I'm looking at what can I do in the next 9 months, to get my body in a way where it's not going to hurt as much,
Yeah.
right? Where that's taking care of things. maybe is playing a little bit lighter. So always evaluating that and trying different things and keeping the body guessing.
The strength work, the recovery work, what does that look like now versus what it looked like maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, it used to be all weights, like zero recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, recovery is such a
Oh,
huge.
it's
I
a
mean, I know
major
you have a
part.
cold plunge,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I love that type of stuff, and the massages and PT. It's such a big part of people's lives these days. Back 10 years ago, no one
You
was
you
really talking.
you kind of got laughed at a little
Yeah, it's
bit,
like,
you
oh,
know?
what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
weirdo. I have Normatex at my house for compression, and so that actually, I spend more time on recovery probably than I do on
Yeah.
weights during the season now. It's maybe 2 times a week, more on field, shooting and stuff like that, and making sure that I feel good for game day.
To that point, I know you trained with Brian Mazza, you
Yeah,
embraced functional cross-training type workouts. You kind of stepped outside of traditional
yeah,
lacrosse training. Would you recommend that to everybody? Do you wish it was something you may have done sooner?
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually something I'm thinking about right now, going back to a little bit, just to try and stay a little leaner, have a little bit, be a little, I don't know, lighter on the field, and I think that helps. My strength coach is amazing. I train at Acceleration, and Steve is unbelievable. And I kind of went to him post COVID. I never, Maggie, my wife, actually trained with him since high school, and he's very much into like very cool exercises. It's not like traditional, but it's definitely like weights focused.
Gotcha.
Whereas I like to sweat. I like that, and I kind of got away from it a little bit. So, when Brian and I trained together, I was MVP that year, won a gold medal. I looked the best I've ever looked. I felt the best I've ever felt. It's kind of when people are like, "All right, Rob, what are you doing? And how are you training?" Which
Yeah.
was cool. And I kind of became known as like the fitness lacrosse guy. And obviously Brian's a big part of that. And listen, having somebody to do it with is so helpful. We were in the city. He'd be like, "All right, 10 a.m. Let's go. 9 a.m. here." We work out together 4 times a week,
Yeah.
and a partner, and we push each other. So yes, I want to get back to that training. I think I will this off season, just to change things up a little bit.
Is there a favorite non-lacrosse workout that you implement that you think all athletes should do?
Like, you mean like a class, or like a training, or
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, right? Like, there's only so many sport-specific workouts you can do there, but
yeah,
there are certain things that no matter what sport you're in,
yeah,
and maybe there's not an answer to it. I'm
yeah,
just asking out of just simple
yeah.
curiosity if there are things that you do that you feel every athlete should be doing this in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I and Brian and I back then, and still to this day, I love to try and mix in is the rower and the ski erg. Just from an endurance and like a cardio standpoint, but also functional fitness. We always try to incorporate those into exercises. You know, I don't know if there's one in particular. I mean, I that's kind of athlete focused. I don't know. That's a good question. Um, no, sled pushes and all that, but that's athlete specific. Um, I love Barry's boot camp, which is
Mm.
funny. It's just a good test, cardio and weights. So nothing really. I think all working out to a certain extent is athletic, right?
Yeah, it
So
is. It is.
um, I don't know. What do you think? Do you do anything, any different exercises, or?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm not a professional
Yeah,
athlete. I'm,
but you're into it, right?
I'm
Yeah,
into. Well, yeah. I mean, I played soccer growing up, and then I got away from that. I looking back now, being very competitive in business.
yeah,
I had a competitive edge growing up. I kind of lost that competitive edge for whatever reason in high school, and then I wound up, going through the motions kind of in life, and not not really expecting the best out of myself, quite frankly. It wasn't until, my business career started to take off, I had put my health to the side. I kind of helped, I found somebody to kind of reinvent that a lot of that competitive fire came back, and has made a big impact on my
yeah,
business, right? Um, I don't want the reason now that I'm so involved in sports for my kids is I don't want them to lose what I had lost,
sure.
you know? So for me, I'm just trying to be the most functional that I can be from a health standpoint, the
Yeah.
sharpest that I could be mentally, and have the most energy to be able to pour into my kids. That's my main
Yeah, of
focus.
course.
As a professional athlete, I couldn't answer that because I've never competed at the level that you have. But I also understand that the demands that business can have on you, and the real any consistency that I've had in business, has been only when I've been most consistent with myself. That translates like you can't believe.
Yeah, that's great. Great role model too for your kids.
It
That's
is.
most important,
It
right?
is.
But when I talk to Brian Mazza, like, that's a big part of, obviously he does what he does, and fitness is his life, but the way he treats every day and to be a role model for his kids and
Yeah.
kind of have them follow along
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah. I mean, my son's doing 10 hours a week as an 8-year-old of hockey training.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
crazy.
That's a lot. And he doesn't say anything about
Yeah.
it. He sees the work that I put into it. So it's important. When we talk about consistency and preparation, what is you feel the linchpin, so to speak, for getting yourself ready for each and every game, getting yourself into that right mindset? What does that routine look like for you?
You just said it right there. I mean, the consistency and the preparation, like anybody can do something for a week, a month, a year. I'd like to think that I've been committed to being my best on the lacrosse field really since probably my junior year of high school, right when I started to work out and get in the weight room. And when I saw the results there, I became addicted to the weight rooms. Like I can't miss a workout. I'd come home from Cornell. I'd be working out on Christmas or on Thanksgiving. My mom's like, "Why can't you just take a day off?" And I'm like, "Because when you're cheering in the stands,
Yeah.
this is why. All I know is to be consistent and just continue
Sure.
to work." And I've done that for the past 20 years. So um, it's that. And like when it comes to game day, I look at what I'm looking back before that game, like, okay, what did I do this week? Did I get in the gym? What did I get on the field? Did I take care of my body? Right? And my body could not, maybe my body doesn't feel good, but if I did 3 cold plunges and got a massage and had PT and was rolling out and normateching, I'm telling myself that it feels good because I
Sure.
did that. Right? So if I'm shooting and prepared that way, like I'm gonna be confident in my play. Whereas if maybe I don't have a great week, right? Maybe I'm not as consistent as I've been. I'm not gonna have that confidence and that preparation on game day. Even like something so simple as watching film, right? If you
Yeah.
don't watch enough film on an opponent versus if I watch my defender, 2 or 3 times leading up to the game, I'm just gonna be more confident
Of
just because I
course.
watched it,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, you scored a point in every single game of your college career, 72 straight, right?
yeah.
I mean, part of that doesn't happen without that consistent preparation. I want to segue now to the 2014 World Championships. You put up 32 points, was the second most in U.S. history for a single tournament. Describe that experience for you.
Well, I mean, it was awesome up until the last day because I was having a great tournament, and again, one of those things you don't even know that you're doing while you're doing it. I'm not looking. I'm focused on
Yeah,
winning gold
sure.
medal, and we lost. So like the whole time we're there, we're rock stars. I'm playing well, I'm feeling great, and we're beating everybody, and we're like, all right, there's no way we're not going to win a gold medal, and then we lost to Canada in the finals. So. It was an interesting
Yeah,
experience and ended up being terrible and like motivated me until 2018 when we finally got that gold medal, and still motivated me into 2023 when we got another gold medal,
yeah,
just because it was that it was that tough. Like I was
yeah,
like, I can't believe this just happened. Like
yeah,
we're Team USA, we're supposed to win the gold medal.
yeah.
My first would have been my first championship in lacrosse, and it just
But to that point, right? It's just like you do all the preparation, but if you shows you how at that highest level, right? Like you can't give the opponent an
yeah,
inch,
yeah.
right?
Well, absolutely. And maybe what was our preparation like? What could have we done different as a team? Did we understand exactly how Canada was going to play? Versus in 2018, we knew exactly what they were going to do.
Yeah,
Because it happened. So
yeah,
were we prepared as we should have been? Maybe
yeah.
we weren't.
Is the preparation and representing Team USA different than playing in the PLL? It
Yeah,
is. It is.
it's
More pressure.
pressure, but also it's amazing everyone who plays in the PLL and they go to a Team USA tryout, or it's their I've been part of it for 2012, my first Team USA event, and guys that do experience it, they come back to like, it's unbelievable how you have the best players in the world and they go to this tryout and they forget who they are. Nothing what they've done matters, right? They become this selfless team player, and they check their ego at the door, and they're humble and respectful, and not that they aren't on the weekends, but it's just different. It's just like there's just different focus and humility and selflessness that when you put on that Team USA jersey and you're in tryouts, are like everybody does the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's
And you see that in a lot of sports. I mean, you see that amongst like USA basketball, right? All these stars come in, the egos go to the side, and
it's crazy. Because then you go back to the pro weekend, and as much as you talk about it, right? Like, you have 5 USA guys on a PLL team. You're like, we got to be like Team USA. Like, how do we? Like, as much as you try, it's just so tough to emulate.
Now, when you go back to Long Island schools, you talk to young players. Have you had a chance at this point to reflect on how far you've come, or is that something you're saving for when you finally decide to stop?
Yeah. Every now and then something happens where maybe I think about it a little bit. I think when I finally stop, I'll definitely be able to do it more. Actually, moving into my new house allowed me to do it a little bit.
Yeah.
And thanks to you. And I was cleaning, moving some stuff for a storage unit for years into my garage and cleaning garage. And I found like some stuff from college and some notes and some from my uncle or my mom, just like notes for games or awards that I had won that I had forgot about, and pictures. And I'm like, wow, this is
it's surreal, probably
crazy.
Right?
And that, it is. And then it's come like, and also that this much time has passed, but also to like get to where I am now, and that's where I was, and this is what happened. So it's cool, but I love being able to motivate the next generation.
Sure.
is fun.
Congratulations, you were recently married, by the way, and I know your wife also a professional lacrosse player. Both of you obviously have probably very competitive natures, I would say. I've often thought about the dynamic between, especially 2 professional athletes that are together, but now I got a chance to ask about it. What is it like? Does your competitive natures kind of help you grow your relationship? I've always been curious about that. For 2 people who are at a very high level in their respective sports, get together, they're married. Like, what's that like?
Well, she's always right. No,
Yeah.
she. It's it's funny. I'm the second best athlete in the relationship. I mean, she's a dual sport athlete in North Carolina, soccer and lacrosse, and to do that, to have the discipline and focus and athleticism that she has. But yeah, I think it helps the relationship because at some point you have to kind of lose that a little bit. And, I definitely, as being as competitive as I am, when you're arguing over something, right? Someone has to apologize and they talk it out, and the communication aspect really is important. And I think being in team sports, and you know how to communicate a little bit, and you know how important it is. So communication is the most important thing. But then from a competitive aspect, it's like you almost have to lose that competitive aspect when you're inside the house, right? And I think I'm still playing, so I think she's done a great job of understanding that, and knows what I need to do in order to be ready on the weekend. But I know how she is, and I know how difficult it is that she isn't playing anymore, right? She played pro last February, and I think she's done now. But how even college sports, and kind of when an athlete, they say an athlete dies twice, when they retire and when they die. Yeah. So, I got to imagine she played sports her entire life, that it's very difficult for her. So, but I think the cool part is we know we can push each other and say certain things and get away with it, because we know that we are competitive, and we know that while maybe it may come off a certain way inside, where it's going to motivate her or me.
And you want what's best for each other.
Yeah, and we're both active, which is cool. We both love to do things, and for me, it's very selfless of her to to come up to the field with me. I'd be like, I need someone to feed me, and she'll be like, all right, I'll come, let's go, you know. So it's cool to, and it's really unique to like kind of have that athlete relationship, but you're also husband and wife.
But you're already ahead of the game because you realize, like I did, she's always right.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Once you realize that, things get a lot easier. What do you want your legacy in this sport to be?
Just kind of the consistency and the pro that I was, you know, from college, but also going into pro, you know, maybe it's going to be 14 years if I play next year as a pro, and just kind of the consistency from college to pro, Team USA, of just continuing to get to that next level, right? To continue to set the bar higher and reach it. And then just continue to do that year after year, and just the dedication, work ethic, and commitment to being a pro. You know, in athletes in sports, they use the term a pro's pro, right? Like,
Sure.
oh, that guy's a pro's pro. So I think kind of just that, just the competitor that I was on the field, and you know, I know, yeah, just for people to understand that, and on the other side, I want younger kids who maybe are discouraged or not being recruited or being cut. I mean, this could be a whole nother podcast you and I can have, is talking about club teams and kids being cut at 7, 8 years old, right? Who wants to play that sport, right? But being discouraged, but knowing like, listen, I was cut from club teams 3 years in a row, and you know, didn't make varsity lacrosse as a senior, as a sophomore, as a freshman, and didn't make the Empire team, but just continued to keep working.
Yeah.
So just to kind of give kids that hope and let them know that, like, you know, bet on yourself, continue to work.
In the brief time that you and I are talking, I get the sense that you're a very coachable person. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear this a lot, right? There's a lot of people that just kind of think they know it all, right? And I think you, from what I could tell, you have the confidence in what you can do, but you also have the humility to know that you could always do better, and you're willing to accept help from people to get you to that next level. Is that I would imagine that's something that you would really want to be remembered for.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think I surprised people a little bit when, you know, like my coach this year, I think I surprised him a little bit. He thought I was going to come in and be this. He's like, you know, Ryan, you never coached me before. You didn't know what I was like. You know, I was going to come in and be this dominating presence and force, and I was like, no, you know, that's not my style. I've got to respect the guys around me, and regardless of what I've done, I
Sure.
don't look at what I've done as like I should have. You know, authority, or you know, look at you differently. It's like I still am coachable and still have humility. And honestly, I always struggle with the confidence aspect of it. Like, I wish I had more confidence, and I think because I don't, that leads to the humility aspect. But you know, my coach and I had to talk about my confidence this year, and we had like numerous conversations because certain things were being done where I was lacking confidence to start the season.
So even after all the accomplishments, all the awards, everything, the accolades, the confidence is still an issue.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
And I think that goes back to my childhood, and you know, with my dad, and you know, never telling me that I'm the greatest, and
Sure.
like, you know, always. So I'm always like looking for that confidence in a coach, you know, in a coach or someone to like say, you know, just to feel good. Everyone just assumes I have it,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm always. I guess that's why I work so hard. You know, I'm trying to build it
Sure.
always, and just kind of keep building it.
At any point in time, though, not to get too personal, but did you finally ever get games from your dad where he was like, "Hey, great job," or was there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely games now. Like, he'll call me, you know, in the pros. He was a little less intense. Cornell, certainly. I mean, we had conversations. I was like, Dad, if you're not going to be positive, like, don't come.
Yeah.
And that was in high school. So I would know he would either be quiet, or he would say like, you know, great game, good job. If he was quiet, I knew I could have played better. If he said something right, I knew like, you know, I played well. And listen, because of him, I'm the first person to know when I don't play well, or when I make a mistake, or when I do something wrong, right? So because of how he raised me, which is fine.
Yeah. As someone that is one of the faces for the lacrosse industry, what do you want to see as the future for this sport?
I would, you know, I'd love to be like you know, you talk about these baseball, MLB and NFL players that, you know, work 2 jobs, and, you grinded it back in the day and made these salaries, and now you have these guys now that are making millions. And I think that's hopefully where we are, and we're getting started. To see from 2013, my first year as a pro, till now where it's come. My starting salary as a pro, I think, was like $5 or $6 grand. The only reason I was able to do it was, great my sponsors. I've been with New Balance and Warrior for years, and they supported me and other companies over the years. So that's what made it. You're able to do it, right? But some guys, and to their credit, are working. Now I work and have another job, but for 7 or 8 years I did lacrosse only. But a lot of guys from their rookie year to when they retire, they're working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So I think for us now to be kind of known as those guys who are, kind of laid the groundwork and committed to it, and worked 2 jobs and made it work because they saw where it could go. And already, guys are making more money, tenfold of what we were making, and benefits. And so I think just to kind of I'd love to see it. And, the Olympics in 2028 should be interesting.
Yes.
Should be really interesting turning point or time for lacrosse to see, all right, is this going to help propel lacrosse where we need it to go? Or is there going to be another 20, 30 years of kind of just grinding away?
Yeah. And maybe from there, it's, they can see based on the reaction and the feedback, you might be closer than you think. You know what I mean? It could be a few things that just need to be done to help propel it, for sure. What's next for you, kind of both on and off the field?
Yeah. So kind of right now is just figuring out where next season, and I have some time to see how the body feels, and adjust some of the training that I talked about and see how that feels, and if I am going to play another year. Maggie and I obviously discussing starting a family, which is exciting. And then professionally, I work in insurance full time for Acrisure, which is a top 5 brokerage in the United States. So obviously really just, focus on that now during the week, and, building my career there as well. And then, we'll see. I think I'm very excited for life after lacrosse, because it's going to give me time that I've never had. Every summer, April in the early days through August, and now, really May through September has been taken up with lacrosse for the last 13 years. So it's going to be fun to see, okay, how can I use that time to be impactful in other areas of my life, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's coaching the next generation. Be cool. So while it's a little bit nerve-wracking, it's exciting as well.
What you see on the horizon, it's like, yes, it's a big change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a big adjustment, but I think whatever it is that you're going to do, like, you're going to have a major impact in whatever area that is. And I think you'll probably have a very different, if I had to guess, probably a different but a great perspective on just everything you've done so far.
Yeah, thanks.
The 10-year-old Rob, if you could go back and offer him any advice, right? The one that was getting overlooked, the one that was getting passed on, cut from club teams, what's the best advice you could offer him?
I think we'll go back to that confidence conversation that we were having, and just tell him to be confident and let him know that you're great at what you're doing, and continue to work. But be confident in your abilities out there, and be confident in who you are, and don't get down or whatnot, because I think that confidence develops at an early age, or just that mindset. It's like kids that have like that, in sports, there's players that have that ability when the game's on the line, like, when that guy has the ball. And you see it in certain sports. It's like the same guy every time. Like, he scores that game-winning goal, or he just got that factor, right? So it's like, I think that develops at a younger age. So it would be a big confidence big confidence talk with 10-year-old Rob, and just to be more confident. Not to think things are going to go in a wrong direction. Like, continue to believe in what you have and continue to move forward. I did that to a certain extent, but I think could have probably done it better.
All right. Before we wrap it up, I just want to say, is there anything that, any projects currently that you're doing right now? Anything that you're involved in that you want to give a special shout out if people want to know more about you, the sport of lacrosse? What's the best way that they could do that?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, obviously social media is great. I'm on Instagram. Not quite as active as I used to be, but just Rob Pannell 3 on Instagram and Twitter. And then obviously our PLL games are, next year the season starts May 9th, so there'll be games every weekend on ESPN. We signed a new partnership with ESPN. They're now an equity partner in the league as well. All our games are on ESPN streaming, either ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, or the streaming platform. And yeah, no, that's about it. I mean, if you want to support lacrosse or inner city lacrosse, I'm on the board of City Lacs, which is a charity in New York City, which is responsible for basically public schools playing lacrosse in Manhattan and provides children and with the opportunity to play lacrosse, and it really changes lives. I mean, kids who pick up a stick that may be pointed elsewhere, trouble or after school, or they have lacrosse now as something that keeps them in school and keeps them focused after school. So yeah, we're responsible for all the public high schools in the city, and now we're focusing on middle school programs because we want to start to have that impact at an earlier age. So.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. And how long have you been involved with that?
Been involved with it for years. I've been on the board probably for 5 or 6 years now. And it's just an amazing way to kind of, inner city lacrosse is a big part of lacrosse. And, there's other organizations as well, just to provide kids with that opportunity. Lacrosse is a little more difficult than just picking up a basketball or kicking a soccer ball. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Of course. Well, this is a new podcast. I called it Long Island Legends for a reason. Obviously, it goes without saying that you fit that description perfectly, and it's not just Long Island. As I started off this show, you're an industry legend, so I can't wait to see what you do in the future. I'm beyond impressed with not just your humility, but just the desire to continually get better. Expect so much from yourself as somebody that is in an industry where it's so demanding, and I have to expect so much from myself, not just as a business owner, but as a husband and a father. Just seeing somebody that shares those same beliefs and values. It was a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. I mean, listen, it was you talk about reflecting on things, and it's always opportunities like these that allow me to reflect a little bit on the past, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for you for having me on here, and this is really great what you're doing and being consistent with it. And obviously, congratulations on all your success in the business world. And looking forward to maybe we'll do this again in a couple of years or something. See where we're at.
See where it goes. All right. Well, that wraps it up. So thank you so much for watching this. For all those who are interested, please follow this man, Rob Pannell 3, on Instagram. And as always, if you know of anybody that would be a fit for this program, a Long Island legend, let us know. And once again, I'm Jeremiah Dalton, the owner of Suffolk County House Buyers. This is Long Island Legends. Stay tuned for next time.